Today we continue our conversation on telepathy, or so it may appear to manifest that way. And I say this because anytime I discuss the law, I recall that the ways of the unseen are, well, as stated here by Neville, referencing Isaiah 55:9. Your ways are not my ways. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways. So do not ask how it is going to be done. All I have to do is completely yield to this being within me, for he has ways and means I, at this level of my being, know not of. So I had an interesting conversation with a friend this week who is spontaneously traveling. And he was sharing with me how he was meeting people who show up saying the same things he was consciously imagining, and sharing the same experiences that he is imagining to have, revealing that the appearance of telepathy, as well as whatever else, are the bridge of incidents of effects of how we relate to the one cause within consciousness, I am in imagination, as Neville mentioned in the Pearl of Great Price lecture. I sell all beliefs and powers other than my own wonderful human imagination. Everyone, because they have imagination, and everyone can imagine, and everyone can believe in the reality of their imaginal act, is free. It sets us free, for we are told, if you believe my word and abide in my word, then you know the truth, and the truth will set you free. John 8:31. Well, how does he define the truth? He said, I am the truth. He said, if you know my word, you know the truth, and I am the truth. So if you abide in this, then you'll be set free. So thus consciousness imagined to appear accordingly, without being concerned with how it appears accordingly. So my conversation with my friend reminded me of a story, as I'm also imagining doing some extended travel again. And I'm not sure if I shared this with you before, or perhaps I did share some parts of it. Let's discuss it to demonstrate how everything appears to move ideally automatically, to reflect what you imagine, which may also appear as telepathy. So a while back, I had a desire to live in California for a while. And according to both the personal or business visa they give at the border, but I knew that some way, somehow it would happen where I could stay there longer. So then a client there started to mention that it would be great for me to be there and work on some projects. They now also appear to have this desire as well, and I felt that they would do whatever to have me there. Then I had an idea. Maybe they could do some kind of paperwork for a special visa or something like that, and I checked. It looked like all the special visas I found required a university degree, which I don't have. But I knew that I'm already there. We're taught in 2 Corinthians 5:7, for we walk by faith, not by sight. So thus, do not allow not so ideal imaginings that may appear to conform you. Be neutral to them so that they rearrange accordingly, as there's only one cause and is not external to consciousness or in the appearance phenomena of life, as he says. It is of vital importance to understand clearly just what consciousness is. The reason lies in the fact that consciousness is the one and only reality. It is the first and only cause substance of the phenomena of life. So there were a few visas that didn't require a degree, but they were outside of my industry. And then one appeared, which actually ended up being a perfect match, as it was what I was doing for them. And for many years, I did it for other businesses. It was the management consultant TN visa, so they did the paperwork for it. And I also remember imagining subletting my place while I was gone around that time. And around that time, I was teaching the speed reading workshops in the city. And how this relates was I was at the gym, and I recognized one of the students from the workshops I just did, and we started talking. He mentioned that he was looking to stay downtown for a bit to see if he likes it. So I said, I'm going to fly out for a TN visa. Would you be interested in staying at my place for a few months? Which he said yes. And so it worked out perfectly. What I desired, he also appeared to desire, and by accepting the desire, he appeared with the same thoughts. Now the thing about the visa is that you get approved for it at the border. So you book your flight and do the interview at the airport. And it was also said to be difficult and rejected often, or so it appeared to be suggested that way on various internet forums. Again, we're taught not to be concerned. 2 Corinthians 5:7, for we walk by faith, not by sight. Which in this regards means be neutral to appearances, unaffected by the evidence of the senses, which may be from past imaginings. And if reactive, remember Romans 12:2. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you'll be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. So if I got rejected, I would have to find another place to stay as he was staying at my place. But I didn't. I got approved and away I went. So I was in California for a while, but I flew back to clear up the end of my lease and deal with my furniture going in storage, which I didn't want to do. So I imagined that someone would move in and take everything except my Blendtec blender, which I love, and I would just walk out with my luggage straight to the airport and fly out. So what happened was there was a woman who came to look at the place. She just finished school from out of the city, got a job downtown, and had no stuff. So I said to her when the agent was showing her the place, I said, I was wondering if you want everything, all the stuff, including utensils and whatever. And she was so excited. It was like moving into a fully furnished place for her, which upon conversation was exactly like how she wanted. So thus, telepathy and thought transmission is an interesting phenomena of consciousness. It is fascinating to hear the stories of how people get to the same point. They all of a sudden had this idea, or they already had this idea, which is why I always say everything happens ideally automatically in the spirit of harmony with all. And why does this work and in loving harmony with all? Well, consciousness is one, beyond the people that appear and their individual minds that appear to play all roles of the ultimately one consciousness in a mutually harmonious way. As he says, the light is consciousness. Consciousness is one, manifesting in legions or forms or levels of consciousness. Now in Advaita Vedanta, consciousness is ultimately one, and there's only consciousness, one fundamental reality that is now being experienced as subjects and objects. Consciousness, thus, is the one true underlying reality. As Neville also mentioned earlier, it is of vital importance to understand clearly just what consciousness is. The reason lies in the fact that consciousness is the one and only reality. It is the first and only cause substance of the phenomena of life. So now the world made visible through the five senses is a result of reflective consciousness. Consciousness is the light, the I am, that is refracted out, appearing as individuals experiencing the manifested world made visible through the five senses by imagination. In other words, the light of consciousness, which is your life, reflects on the mirror of your mind to present your imaginal activity. Your mind is a mirror that reflects the light of consciousness in and as the world made visible through the five senses in relationship with them. As he says here, your consciousness is the light reflected on the mirror of your mind and projected in space to the one whom you think. By mentally speaking to the subjective image in your mind, you cause the mirror of your mind to vibrate. Your vibrating mind reflects the light of consciousness reflected on it. The modified light of consciousness reaches the one toward whom it is directed and impringes on the mirror of their mind. It causes their mind to vibrate according to the modification it undergoes. Thus, it reproduces in them what was mentally affirmed by you. So I found that understanding consciousness through my Advaita Vedanta studies and non-duality purified my mind from unnecessary separation-based beliefs, as he says. There is no one that is not all that is. For consciousness, though expressed in an infinite series of levels, is not divisional. There's no real separation or gap in consciousness. I am cannot be divided. I am is a feeling of permanent awareness. The very center of consciousness is the feeling of I am. I may forget who I am, where I am, what I am, but I cannot forget that I am. The awareness of being remains, regardless of the degree of forgetfulness of who, where, and what I am. I am is that which, amid unnumbered forms, is ever the same. So it is thus beliefs and fixed attitudes of mind that result in delusions of the cause appearing outside. There's only one cause within consciousness, I am. Those are thus reflections that play out through these imaginings of others. Simply put, if we imagine relating ideally, they appear relating ideally. If we imagine no real separation or gap in consciousness beyond appearances, this also facilitates them appearing accordingly, as there is no longer identification to unnecessary separation-based beliefs, as he says. Your beliefs, your fixed attitudes of mind, constantly modify your consciousness as it is reflected on the mirror of your mind. Your consciousness, modified by your beliefs, objectifies itself in the conditions of your world. Also, you may enjoy Thursday's video where we discuss allowing your attention to be on what is related to your vision, living in the end, thus allowing the unseen power of awareness to take care of everything for you behind the scenes, which may include effects of thought transmission and telepathy to actualize your imaginings. So I trust you found this video to be helpful. Let's go ahead and conclude this with an auto-suggestion to further encourage. You could say, as I remain in my ideal state of consciousness, I allow everything to happen automatically, ideally, to bring forth my heaven on earth the way I desire. My attention automatically remains on what is related to my vision, done for me by the unseen power within me. Happiness and fulfillment are representations of my true self, allowed to be made visible through the five senses to reflect what I imagine ideally. If you would like a copy of this mind map, the link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk with you soon. Take care.